Crowns from ancient Egypt have always piqued the interest of many academics. They are so unlike anything we think of as a crown today because of their shapes and designs. Despite this, they can be considered some of the first crowns in human history. What are the rings on the king of Egypt's crown? Have you ever paid attention to these tiny circles on the crowns of the pharaohs? Do you wish to be informed of its meaning? At the end of this video, you'll get the answer. But trust me, it's beyond your expectations. Welcome to yet another great video regarding the history of Black people. Here, we highlight the historical existence of Black people and their contributions to global civilization. If this is your first time on our channel, kindly hit the like and share buttons and subscribe for more tips on money, wealth, and finance. Let's get started. The pharaohs of ancient Egypt wore a variety of crowns. Did you know that? While some were employed for religious ceremonies, others were employed to demonstrate authority. Different pharaohs or gods wore different crowns, and each crown had a special importance and symbolic value. The Atef, Deshret, Hedjet, Kepresh, Pshent, and Nemes were some of the crowns. Every single one is equally intriguing and enigmatical. Additionally, did you know that none of them have ever been discovered? Archaeologists have not stumbled upon any pharaoh's crowns. This might be a result of the fact that they were passed down from one king to the next, or because they were crafted of fragile materials. The consensus among experts is that they were most likely weaved from materials like papyrus or leather. This crown is sometimes referred to as the war crown or the blue crown. However, it was originally known as the Kepresh and debuted in the New Kingdom. Its nickname, war crown, comes from the fact that it was frequently seen on New Kingdom pharaohs during rituals and wars. Let's now delve more deeply into this subject and learn more about the Kepresh. The Kepresh is first mentioned on a stela from the Second Intermediate Period, which is currently on display at the Cairo Museum. Its shape changed during the early 18th dynasty and reached its most well-known state under the reigns of Thutmose III and Hatshepsut. Following Amenhotep III's reign, the Kepresh gained popularity and was used as the main crown by various pharaohs. During the Kushian dynasty, the crown was no longer represented. The Kepresh may have been constructed of leather or stiffened cloth, according to certain Egyptologists. Others thought it was fashioned from plant fiber. According to Dr. Sandra A. Collier, an Egyptologist from UCLA, the Kepresh designated the new Amun-Ra successor, or the living king. It was connected to the new sun god and rebirth. Other scholars contend that the crown connotes kings as earthly representations of deities. Because of this, the Kepresh is frequently equated with the pharaoh's divine power. As you can see, it was occasionally embellished with a meticulous arrangement of hundreds of sequences, discs, rings, or little circles. Consequently, what do these circles stand for? Despite having a peculiar appearance, this style of design was quite popular in ancient times. The same motif can be seen in a variety of ancient Egyptian designs, as well as those from Nubia and the Kushite kings. When one looks at all these drawings, though, something truly intriguing occurs. Each one refers to hair, and they are all related. These tiny circles, in other words, were designed to mimic hair. When we consider that crowns are placed on top of the head, where hair is found, this may not come as a huge surprise. Intriguingly, it also denotes afro or kinky hair, which makes it more than just a simple indication of hair. The hairstyle that is currently exclusive to Africa's Black population. This is evident by the depiction of a different hairstyle on a golden crown from Mesopotamia. We can observe that the crown has been permanently embellished with hair-inspired motifs that resemble curly hair. The evidence may be found in the artworks below from a variety of regions, including Europe, India, Asia, the Middle East, and of course Africa, including Egypt and Nubia, Carthage, and even Phoenicia. However, the hair represented on the Egyptian crowns is emblematic of kinky hair. The fact that it only appears on works of art that feature Black Africans makes it clear. In other words, it was a technique used by ancient painters to show the tightly curled hair that was so distinctive to African Americans. The same conclusion was reached by several scholars. The skull cap and further similarities between these two headdresses include its distinctive decoration with circlets, which have been proposed to emulate locks of hair, stated Egyptologist Katja Gobes of Oxford University in her essay on the iconography of gods and demons. In other words, the Egyptian pharaohs adorned their crowns with kinky afro hair embellishments. We should now question why these powerful pharaohs adorned their crowns with kinky hairstyles. The most significant component of their attire stood for divine authority. The fact that it was their hair type may be the reason the solution looks clear. We understand if this isn't enough to persuade you, though, so let's dig a little bit deeper. Narmer's palette depicts the control of a chaotic scenario. This symbolizes the pharaoh's power over his enemies and control over Kemet. The males portraying ancient Egypt's rulers have afro hair, as you can see there. On the other hand, the ancient Egyptian foes are portrayed as having straight hair as they are vanquished. It indicates that power in Egypt came from those with kinky hair, despite the presence of some racial diversity. Alternatively, Black Africans. They held genuine power within that civilization. The Kemites placed a high value on symbolism, and this palette is so significant that it has never been allowed to leave Egypt. Perhaps, however, this is still insufficient for you, so let's delve even further. The populations of the two main ethnic groups in ancient Egypt are depicted in the hagiography, Lower and Upper Egyptians. Each person has been created precisely to represent the phenotype that is naturally present in these areas. As you can see, Lower Egyptians are portrayed as having reddish-brown complexion and hair that is somewhat straighter, whereas Upper Egyptians, or the inhabitants of the pharaonic lands, are portrayed as having dark brown skin and afro-styled hair. On the original mural, the entire painting is visible. By examining the hieroglyphics associated with him, you can see that this dark-skinned man represents Upper Egypt rather than Nubia. Here, Nubians are portrayed, and it is clear that they have a similar phenotype. This artwork was found in the enormous tomb of Keruef, the 18th dynasty steward of Queen Tia. In other words, the ancient Egyptians were revealing to us that the native Upper Egyptians were Black African men who were identical to the common citizens of Africa south of Egypt. Now let's delve even further, since perhaps even this is not enough to satisfy you. Listen to Zahi Hawass, the personification of Egyptology, discuss the Upper Egyptians. And also the people from eastern Palestine, their faces light, that like the people in the Delta, but the people in Upper Egypt, they are dark African, and the African languages also have the origin of the hieroglyphic grammar. As you can see, despite the mixing that took place as a result of invasions, Zahi Hawass acknowledges that Upper Egyptians are still seen as the country's black people. You can see that Upper Egypt had a predominantly black population, meaning that the people who invaded the Delta brought Egyptian civilization with them and created Kemet were also black. This explains why the images of the men who symbolize the authority of the pharaoh had afro hair on Narmer's palette. This brings up the main subject of this video, the rings on the Kepresh. Again, it becomes apparent that these rings stand for kinky hair and signify the racial background of Kemet's founders and emperors. Therefore, it is true that ancient Egypt was a black African civilization, but perhaps some of you are still doubtful about our conclusions. So let's dig a little deeper before we wrap up this video. Here is a typical hairstyle from a tribe in Central East Africa that managed to resist invasion. It is known as the Amasunzo hairstyle. Its form is the same as the Kepreshes. So the question is, was an African hairdo birth the inspiration for the Kepresh? Maybe, but it's obvious that black African hair and hairstyles served as the inspiration. Do you share our opinion? Please respond in the comments section. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more videos on black people's history, civilization, and significance, as well as other claims for black superiority, kindly like this video and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to enable the notification bell so that you will be notified whenever we upload new videos.